The History of DNA by Stephen Beyer. You distracted me.
Take two.
The History of DNA by Stephen Beyer, Megan Ruffalo, Gage Pattersin, and Patrick Lord-Remmert. Gregor Mendel's principles of inheritance form the cornerstone of modern genetics. First, the law of segregation. A gene pair defines each inherited trait. Parental genes are randomly separated to the sex cells so that the sex cells contain only one gene of the pair. Offspring therefore inherit one genetic ally from each parent when sex cells unite in fertilization. Second, the law of independence assortment. Genes for different traits are sorted separately from one another so that the inheritance of one trait is not dependent on the inheritance of another. Third, the law of dominance. An organism with alternate forms of a gene will express the form that is dominant.
3 years later, Friedrich Miescher collected bandages from a nearby clinic and washed off the pus. He experimented and isolated a new molecule, nuclein, from the cell nucleus. This was the first crude DNA. Phobos Levine characterized the different forms of nucleic acid, DNA from RNA, and found that DNA contained adenine, guanine, thymine, cytosine, deoxyribose, and a phosphate group.
Rosalind Franklin found the double helix but didn't really know it. She died of cancer in 1958 before she could be recognized for her achievement. After Rosalind died, James Watson and Francis Crick took over her work and then got the Nobel Prize for finding the structure of DNA. But really all along, Rosalind figured out the structure.
Maurice Wilkins, along with Watson and Crick, won the Nobel Prize in 1962 for the discovery of the structure of DNA. He is not as known as Watson and Crick, but we are going to give him the credit that is not due. Oswald Avery, with McLeod and McCarty, discovered that DNA is the material which genes and chromosomes are made. This is McLeod. And this is McCarty. They were Avery's partners.
Alfred Hershey and Martha Chase did the Hershey-Chase blender experiment that proved phage DNA, and not protein, was the genetic material. In 1946, while working with a fellow scientist, Hershey discovered that phage can recombine when co-infected into a bacteria host. This led to a new area of phage genetics.
Martha Chase was born in 1927. She was an American geneticist, famously known for being a member of the 1952 team, which experimentally showed that DNA, rather than protein, is the genetic material of life. She spent decades suffering from a form of dementia that robbed her of short-term memory. She died on August 19, 2003.
Phoebus Aaron Theodore Levine, M.D., was born on 1869 and died in 1940. He was a Russian-American biochemist who studied the structure and function of nucleic acids. AIDS.
Friedrich Miescher was born in 1844 and died in 1840. Duh! This is the end of our presentation. But happy Valentine's Day from all of us at the Beyer House. And remember, the love is in your genes.